Welcome everybody. My name is Charles Appleby, founder of No CO2, that's n0co2.org. This is a special edition of Improve Your Carbon Footprint, and here we are in Ecuador, on the forefront of climate change, with Analu Goetschel, who's the owner of the property here, which is 420 hectares. Analu, would you like to tell us a little bit about how you're tackling climate change and removing CO2 with your property here?
Hello all. Well, here at El Septimo in Mindo, we have a quite large reserve. It's a private reserve. And what we do, starting from the hotel, extending to the forest, is we try to recycle and upcycle everything. Sustainability is very important to me and to everything I do within the company. So in the lodge, everything is either inherited or secondhand or made from recovered and recycled wood. There's nothing new here. That is important because we believe that things need to be reused in order to decrease the footprint that we leave. We are a no plastic lodge. We don't buy plastic if we can, and if we do buy some plastic containers, these are recycled into something else. They can be like the covers for outside lights, or they can be used as cases for nails or as flower pots, etc. Right now, as one of our main projects this year, we are building 4 cabins made of recycled plastic. They come as big boards like plywood. So we've used recycled Tetra Pak for the roofs, and for the walls, recycled plastic boards made from the bags of chips. And for the floor, the same idea, and they even look like tiles, but made from computer parts. So these will be open to the public in a fortnight. Even the beds are made from reclaimed pine wood from containers, and they're looking promising. We've actually made plastic into our friend because we know these are going to last a long time, longer than what wood will.
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. So we're in the Cloudforest here. So in the background, you can see some of the clouds here in the morning. So I think 48% of Ecuador is Amazon forest. So the part here with the cloud forest, are other people, you've replanted some of the land here. Are other people taking action to replant the areas that have been deforested here in the cloud forest?
Okay, deforestation was a big issue until the 90s because there was a law called the Agriculture Reform that made landowners work their properties, and if you didn't work the property, the government will take it away from you. Now, with this law on site, everybody that had big amounts of land and forest, they decided to chop the trees down, sell the trees, put some pastures in and put the cows in. This is not the best place for cows. It rains too much, so their milk is very watery and it's not very high quality. And of course, with the level of humidity and rain, they got ill, they got thin, etc. It's not the best place. After a while, during the 20s, the boom of tourism started because the new road was built. And people decided or realized, that's when I came back home, because this is my home, that tourism was a good idea. So they stopped hunting. They started reforesting land. I reforested 80 hectares with local forest. So we literally went into the forest, got the little plants, put them in, and tried to get rid of the pastures. So we did this. We still have a couple of hectares here and there, like patches of pastures that are hard to kill, but they have become part of the environment, and animals do live there. Mindo, this whole area is very touristic. It's great for birding, great for herpetology. Nature is the boom, you can see that. And slowly, the local community have realized that they can make a better life out of tourism rather than hunting or poaching or agriculture as such. So there's very little agriculture here.
That's amazing. So, Analu, if you could tell us a little bit about them. You reforested 80 hectares. So can you give us a little bit of an idea of the cost of doing that?
Okay. At the beginning, we did it like my parents did and my grandparents did. You just turn the pasture over so you can kind of kill the roots. But with the level of water, nothing killed it. And these are pastures that every stem has 3 million seeds. So that was impossible. So one day, just by chance, I discovered this plant in a friend's place, which is like a huge daisy. It is what I call a controllable plant because it only spreads by stem and not by seed.
Okay.
So it wouldn't invade the forest. So what we did is we planted them, and what it does here, for some odd reason, it grows like a shed. It literally closes the light, and it kills the pasture. So that's what we did. We thought, so within 6 months, it was so dark underneath that the pasture died. And from now and then, like nature is so wise, this sort of tree or plant started to grow. So we'll open it. It was a tedious work. It took like 8 or 9 years. So we'll go to the forest, get a tree, because my workers know what the trees are, and I learned a lot. Make a little hole, put it there, literally cut the daisy up, get the light, voila, the tree. And slowly we've been taking this daisy out, that you can still see it in our gardens. We've taken it out because it's not an invasive plant, and the forest started to grow. 8-9 years later, voila,
Wow.
we have a beautiful forest. A lot of work, money-wise, a lot. A lot of money, but I think it's worth it because this lodge makes his income out of nature, and we just give it a little help.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about the Amazon. We're here in the Cloudforest. People are more familiar with the Amazon in Europe. They're more familiar with the Amazon rainforest. Are you able just to talk a little bit, Analu, about the what's happening on the Ecuador side of the Amazon rainforest and on the Brazil side?
Okay, well, it really comes down to politics. The politicians need the mining companies here, oil and copper, etc., to make some income for the government. And also they give jobs. The problem is, I particularly don't like them, but the problem is that the cost of them doing the disposing of whatever waste comes out the proper way will be humongous, and they don't do it, and they get away with it. But then that happens in most countries, and the level of pollution is huge, and the mark they live is huge, and it decreases the level of life of local people in nature and wildlife, etc. If we ever can have a government that will find the middle way, whereas they can make these companies do this the proper way, nobody will really have an issue with it. Now, local communities don't like it. And I'm not amazed why. I know why they don't like it, because you can see the consequences. But then the government gets such a big chunk of this and such money that they need. We don't talk about corruption because that's huge in South America. But it is not fair. Now, at this side of the Andes, we are towards the beach. There's a lot of copper, and there's a lot of other very precious metals, and they're trying to come into our areas. We don't let them. This is such a touristic place. This is a place that's well known, the whole area. They cannot get away with it. There's been a community about an hour and a half from here that had the miners, and some of the streets fell in. The whole community rose up and said no more, and literally no more. They kicked them out. They literally got the guys and kicked them out, and that's what we do. Every time we see a map on the Ministry of Mining, where they mark the lots of where the mining companies and contract will go, and we'll see ours, the whole village, the whole area gets together and says, no, this is private company. How do we battle there? Well, there's a hole in every law. There is a law here that says that you have the right to the water. So you have to make lots of paperwork and get the right for the water, because if not, the water is public. So I have the rights for my water. Took me 6 years to get this. With that right, no one can come in my property because it's mine for 10 years.
Okay, Analu, that's amazing. So just to say, in Europe, we've got very much an awareness of the concept of the polluter pays. So, this is a new concept that basically if you're causing the pollution, then you need to pay for the pollution. And so that the companies that cause the pollution need to pay for it. Secondly, we've got a lot now of consumer awareness. of products, so that basically people want to buy products which are ethical, they're fair trade, and they protect the indigenous people. So if people, from my point of view, is if people are aware of this problem, then people will not buy the products that are produced in an unethical, polluting and damaging way. And that's a real hope and possibility for consumers across Europe and the US in terms of what they do. But Analu, thanks ever so much for giving us this perspective. So this is Improve Your Carbon Footprint with Analu here in Ecuador. Thanks ever so much, Analu,
Very
for talking
welcome.
to us. And you can take a look at this on the website www.n0co2.org. Thanks ever so much.